So welcome to part 2 of Stinky, the MGB GT V8. So this is the car when I first bought it, and here it is running. I don't think it's running too bad. It's a little bit rich, I know that. And the reason I'm showing you this is because I forgot to take some pictures just before I started work on the carbs from our return from the castles in part 1. So anyway, that's how it ran, more or less. I'm just going to pop it in the garage and then we can hook the bonnet up and have a look. So here it is again. Now this again is some early video that I did when I first got the car, and I did take the carbs off to give it a bit of a tune because it was running a bit rich. But anyway, for the purpose of the episode 2, the carbs were flooding out all over the place. When I fired it up, it had a great big trace of fuel right down the tarmac drive. Realised there was something wrong, pulled it in the garage, need to take the carbs off because I'm thinking, okay, one of the floats have stuck. So anyway, first bit, this is me yanking off the carbs. And anyone who's taken these carbs off before, or this particular type of air filter, these nuts are a bit of a pain in the butt to get off. They're really tight, hardly any space to get your fingers, as you can see, and you just about get a spanner on them. But anyway, it's just about doable. So you've got the ones facing you, and you also got a couple that face the bulkhead, so you need to get the ones off at the back, along with the choke cable, which is connected to the back of the air filter, or the front of the air filter, I think, on a small clip. So all that's got to come off. Anyway, after a lot of fiddling, it does eventually come off, as we'll soon see, hopefully. So this is some more recent videos. So I've got the carbs off in the workshop. Oh, don't forget to subscribe and to like. It's very much appreciated. It encourages me to do more of these stupid videos. Anyway, I digress. So got the carbs on the bench. Let's have a look, see what's going on. So I pulled them apart. Wasn't really intending to go too mad on them because I've had them apart before, and I've put new floats in, which I was going to show you. But anyway, I pulled them apart, but I hadn't actually separated the two before, and I've just done it on this one. You probably can't see it now, but this had all been aerodited around in there. And it's probably quite old, and the aerodite had actually gone a bit soft. So I've picked the old aerodite off, and you see it's not, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's more like a chewing gum really. I thought I just can't leave it, so decisions that have to be made now. The tube is not in anywhere near as far as the other one. Again, hoping you can see that. So it does indicate that it's the wrong tube and it's too long. That doesn't matter. Or this one's not been put in deep enough. The problem now is, of course, I'm a bit committed. I've got to try and get that out and reuse it. If not, I'm going to have to get another bit of tube. And at the moment, it's sort of stuck, but you know, is it going to leak or I don't know. I'll find out in a minute. All right, mate.
Yep.
Can you see now?
I will be able to.
Excellent. I'm just going to grab another drink. Yeah, coffee stash yours.
Oh, lovely. Thanks, Clive.
That might be a bit more grip on it. What's moving, Kev? Oh, if it is, it's only oh, yeah, it might be just a tad.
It is only tiny amount.
Yeah, the idea was just to try and get it to loosen up.
Yeah, it's turning.
Is it?
It is tiny.
Yeah, trouble is. Wants to be a bit more than that, doesn't it? Or it almost wants tapping out, I should think.
The other one looks like it's got some sort of steel tube with a bit of packing in it. Which in fact that does as well, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know really. I just thought they were pushed in, to be honest. But
Yeah, well, no, if you look at this one.
with a little bit of sealant, you know. It's in there, well, I think.
Enjoy. Any feel coming out?
No, mate, I don't know.
Can you see where it ends up? No.
No, it just goes into that blind eye, well, not blind eye, but into that, into there, doesn't it? I might just have to leave it and put some what's it around it.
Oh, that's nice.
Put some, had you buy it?
Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
earlier, yeah.
Did you? I think I might be making a mountain out of it.
I think you might, if you can't,
I think
it's
I'm
not
gonna-
coming out.
I think it wants some metal magic around it.
That's a good idea.
I think that's the answer.
Do
Clean
you,
it right
do you
up.
think not tap it back a little bit as well? Because it does seem to be sticking out a long way.
Well, if you
Mind you, saying that, look, sorry,
Mm.
misleading, that this one sticks out a lot further than that one, on this one.
Oh, so,
So if
probably
you
about the
put
same,
that
isn't
that way
it?
round,
It's probably about the same.
it is about the same. Although obviously,
That isn't it though, is it?
eh?
That's on the inside. That's on the inside. It's actually
Yeah.
that one. That's the
Yeah.
same.
The point is they are different.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it might be someone's replaced the tube, and it's just a longer piece of tube.
I don't think so. I think I think in the past it was weeping, and somebody realising it put some
Gum
araldite around it to try and stop it from weeping. Because it would be annoying if you're driving along and you've got fuel dripping out, and
I know you've got to do
it will smell, won't it?
I think that I really think I might be making a mountain out of my
I do too. Because if you pull that out, you
Yeah.
could have all manner of problems.
Yeah, and I think the answer is to clean that right up.
Clean it up as best you can and get
Yeah,
metal magic.
and then
on
put
it.
some metal magic on it.
I think that's the answer.
Come on! Yo! I'll be away. Yo! Kev! Now that's interesting. There is a bit of moisture around that, so I do think there's been a little bit of that. Yeah, you can see it. Look, been a little bit of seepage around that O-ring, so you can't trust the O-ring. That's interesting. So I'll go on the other side. Interesting again. Bit of moisture around there. That. Put that over. Yeah, wet around there. So these O-rings obviously don't hold back. You know, just before I will just change the O-rings, I'm going to put a bit of sealant around it as well, just to make double sure. But this was one of the original problems when I was coming back from Suffolk area at the beginning of this series. I can't remember whether if I filmed stripping the carbs, but they're the original floats, and these end up being full up with fuel. In fact, this one has still got fuel in it, and it must have been sat there for 2 or 3 months. So they end up being full up with fuel, and then obviously the carbs don't shut off, and you end up just about, you probably can't see it, but I can actually see fuel in there. I don't know whether you can or not. I'll bring it up to the camera. There you go. Just to prove a point, fuel in the float. Anyway, go to SU Carburetors UK. Very helpful guys there. I did ring them, ask them to see what the deal was, and they said, yeah, you need to buy these. They are quite expensive in my opinion, but they're the only option. I don't think they come with a kit, so you end up buying the kit separate than these, I think they call them stay float valves or something. But anyway, the black SU will tell you what you need, and that is the up-to-date version of these. And these, I believe, are more like a solid material, so they're not going to be like that. So don't want to bore you too much with it. I am going to clean these up now. Clean the surfaces. Although they were new O-rings, they were new O-rings when I replaced and reset the heights on the floats. But obviously the new O-rings, they've gone in well, but they've just obviously not sealed up, which is a little bit of a concern. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to rebuild those. I might film the next bit, not sure yet. So here we go. This is now the 3rd time I've had these carbs off to try and sort this leak out. I can't remember what I filmed and what I haven't. The first time was many months ago, if you go back to episode 1 of this series, when I come back and I had leaky carbs and I took them off, and the floats were the original floats. These floats were full of fuel. For that one is still full of fuel, and this is months later. Just sat on the work, must have been 3 months at least, still full of fuel. And that's how it started. So I put new floats in, put them back on, ran the car, it seemed fine. Then we went all through the other issues, which if you've been following the series, you'll see that we went through, down to taking the engine off. I took the carbs back off, obviously, and when I took them off, I found there was a slight seep around one of the float bowl chambers, very, very slight. My mate actually pointed it, it was so minor. I thought I'll sort that out. So probably I've already shown you already, but I then all had new O-rings every time, and they go in these grooves, so you can't really get them wrong. Anyway, so the last time I used, these obviously weren't sealing, so I put some blue Hylamar around it, and only to put them on and find, because I didn't realise that blue Hylamar is not petrol resistant, which is bizarre considering it's a gasket sealant. So I then had to take them off again and get rid of all the Hylamar which have gone into streaks inside the float bowls, clean them all back out again, and now I'm back to trying to seal this up. Now I've seen online where some of these are quite warped. Now I've put a straight edge on this across it, and it's not obviously warped, but obviously somewhere it is, and I can't faceplate it, which would be the first thing, because there's a little tang there, so you can't really faceplate. In fact, there's 2 tangs, one there, so you can't really faceplate it off. So the only option is to find some sort of sealant. Now I'm not being sponsored, but hey, my mate said try some of this stuff, 3-bond, and I said, that's no good, Paul, because all this gluey stuff's no good for fuel. And he said, no, look on the packet. Now this one, apparently it is. So I don't know how much it costs, because my mate very kindly gave me his old open one. So 3-bond, so I'm going to try that. So it's some form of silicone, if I can get the top off. It's some form of silicone. That's a bit tight, that is. So I had to put that in the vice to get it off. Oh, there you go. Some sort of silicone. Oh, it smells weird. I know you can't smell that, but if you could, what's it remind me of? Going to the dentist. That's what it reminds me of. So my thoughts are, put a very small amount of that all around the outside, and hopefully that will just stop. I don't want to put too much on, but I want to put enough to make it to seal up. I hate all these big decisions. Anyway, there's a blob. I'll run my finger around in a minute and get rid of the bulk of this, I think. And I'm making a mess as usual. So, it's quite I'm runny, I'm surprised. It is quite a runny, messy glue. So I know when I do the next one, be very cautious with it. Crikey. Oh, that's gooey. Really gooey. But hopefully I'll put that on and I can wipe the excess off. So, be warned, it's gooey. We'll pop that one back on. It can only go on. Lovely, mate. We'll pop that one on that one. I don't want to muddle them up. I need to put that back in there first. Oh, the other problem is I had a very slight seepage around that screw. I didn't see that or not. Around that screw. Now it doesn't have a fibre washer, which I thought it would need. It's just got this little aluminium washer, not even a copper washer. So I'm going to put a little bit of goop just around the thread on that, just to hopefully seal that up. Well, that's a good thing or not, I don't know, but that is what I'm thinking. I've got plenty of goop, so I'll borrow a bit from there, I think. I don't think it's going to want a lot. It's so small. But it does want to seal. There you go. Time to get to that. So let's pop him in there. And needles in. Pop that through there. Concerned about it not having enough. Squeeze it on it, don't want on it. That's better. I'm going to pop that in there. It lines itself up. Should do it eventually. That's tight. Okay. Pop him on top of there. O-ring it. So, supposed to tighten them up on the diagonal, stop them from warping apparently. We'll do that. Now I have got a continuous bead going all the way around, so I'm quite reasonably confident that it's going to work as long as the silicone holds up to the fuel. Now that's definitely gone on there quite nicely. So do that the same the other one. You O-ring it. Little strange goopy stuff. Now this one's already got the float in it, so I'll pop that on top of there. Pop the screws in again. Again, tighten them up on the diagonals, just to avoid any further warpage. That's it. And again, we've got quite a nice continuous bead all the way around the outside of the chamber. So I'm quite happy with that. And I'll tell you the other nice thing about this stuff is the colour. There you go, it's engine casing grey. So opposed to if you use like Whole Mile, which is blue, or the old, I don't know, Golden Hematite, any of them sorts of stuff. Obviously they're silly colours, but this stuff isn't. It's a nice grey, so I'm pleased with that. Oh, there's one last thing I'm going to do before I put them on is I'm going to put a little bit of this on there. I don't know if you can see that on there or not, but can you just see that? No, not quite. Now I'll turn the camera a bit. So I'll put a little bit of that on there. And that idea of that is, there you go, just see a bit of that on there. There you go. And the idea of that is, I'll know when it's gone hard. So I'm not going to put these carbs back on until that little lump's gone hard. Then, when it's gone hard, I'm going to put it and I'm going to leave it inside a small glass container with some fuel and see how well it holds up. So that'll be, I thought, would be a good test. So, carbs are all ready. Going to leave them till tomorrow before I pop them on. I've cut myself a new gasket because the gasket doesn't come in the pack for the MGB V8. They only bring you the gaskets for the Rover engine, the Rover manifold. So that's all ready to go on. I've put the top on that. Screwdrivers are ready. Okay, pop that back in the box. Triple bond. That's the way to go. I'll leave that till tomorrow. Excellent. Let's get rid of that.